Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to Budget with the July Dreamer. So on this channel, I focus on budgeting, saving and investing. And a couple of videos ago, somebody asked me to do a video on how much I make from my rental properties. So I figured, yeah, why not? Let me share with you how much I make for my two rental properties. I'm not going to talk about how much I spent buying these properties because I've done the videos on that already, and I'll link them up above and in the description bar below. So for today's video, we're totally just going to focus on the month to month income that I make and also the expenses and then what I am left with. So I'm gonna grab my laptop, which is right here. I have my trusted laptop here with me, and I'm going to do a screen record and walk you through how much I make from both of these properties, the expenses that I have for both of these properties, and then how much I am left over as my profit from these properties. So let us begin. I'm going to start the screen record now. I'm going to shrink myself to the corner. So as you can see on the screen right now, this is the budgeting template that I use for my everyday budget, but I've created an annual version for my rental properties. So I track from April to March purely because that is the financial year that I track, and it just makes things easier for me when it comes to paying my taxes because I'll have all of the numbers right there. So if we start off with April, and I start with April, I'm going to jump all the way to August because in April I still had, actually, you know what, let me not do April. I'm going to do July because July had an additional cost. So July, I completed my rental property in July, but I didn't start getting rent from that until August. So in July, I only had one rental income. That was $850 for my first rental property, and this is the fees that I pay for my first rental property. So I pay £105 and 60 pence to my management company. I don't manage my own properties purely because of the lifestyle that I lead, and I also choose not to manage them myself. I want to have a buffer between me and my tenants. I provide everything as I would want it for myself, but I still want somebody else to manage it, essentially. So I pay 105 and 60 pence for that. My mortgage is quite high for this property because when I applied for my mortgage, the interest rates and the state of my finances according to the lender was very interesting. So it's actually higher than a lot of the rates that I had at that time, that were around at that time. It's actually comparable to the rates that we're seeing right now with inflation and all of the hiked up interest rates. But I pay 434 and 91 pence. Then I have landlord insurance, which is £28 and 69 pence. I have a life assurance for this one, which costs me £73 89. I have home care. So one of my rental properties has electricity and gas. So for the boiler, there's this thing called landlord home care. So they service my boiler, well, my tenant's boiler every single year, and I pay, well, it was £18, but now it's increased to £19.30. And then I also bought a washing machine for the property, my first rental property, and I pay insurance for that, and that is £6.39. So overall, I spend £667 and 48 pence from my rental property. So I make $850 from that, and I spend 667 and 48 pence. Then for the month of July, my tenant renewed his tenancy. So before, it used to be that the tenancy renewal would be put on the tenant, but I think things have changed. I think when I was a tenant about 3 years or 4 years ago now, I had to pay the tenant's renewal instead of my landlord. But then since I've become a landlord, things have changed, and that is put onto the landlord. I mean, to be honest, I'm not mad about that. I think, there's enough cost that a lot of other landlords put on people, on tenants, and I don't want to be that type of a landlord. So whatever costs I can alleviate from my tenant, I take on, and tenancy renewal is one of them. And obviously for all of my properties, I do have inventories done, like extensive inventories or copies provided to my tenant and to myself, and if we both agree that yes, this is the state of the house, we sign off, and again that cost comes to me. So yeah, but I paid £90. This also includes VAT in July, so that was another cost that came up, variable cost. So that meant I actually only had £92 and 52 pence left. So once we took out everything, all of the costs, on a normal month where there are no additional costs, I am always left with about, I want to say, I am always left with about £182 and 52 pence. Before, it used to be 211 because I had paid for my landlord insurance annually, but that ended in June, I believe. Yeah, in June I started, so that reduced how much I kept, but that is fine. That's how much I was left with in July, but on a normal month I'm normally left with £182 and 52 pence. So yeah, not bad for me. Obviously I put in a lot of money, and it has actually appreciated in value, and I think I'm gonna do a net worth update soon. I just don't know when. But I bought my property for, I believe, if not, I think 185 or 190. I can't even remember, but my property is now 265. Like, that is the medium estimate. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, yeah, house, you do your thing. And because I'm not your typical landlord, I'm not your typical private landlord, my management company was like, okay, for this renewal, if you renews your tenant, then normally this is the time when we suggest that you increase the rent as well. To be honest, I was just like, no, everything is damn going up. Everybody's struggling, and housing is one of those things that really costs a lot of money. I'm not going to do that to him. Honestly, I'm just trying to pass some good karma around. Maybe I do this good thing for this person, somebody does something good for somebody in my family. It doesn't have to be me. But I was just like, no. And they were like, oh, okay. But obviously next year I will. But this year I was just like, no, you know what? We got a lot going on, so I didn't. But that was something that made me laugh. And all my friends were like, you know, I have to remember that this is a business, right? I'm like, I know, but I can't separate the human element from it. I'm trying and I'm learning, but that's where we are. So now if I show you, now that I have my, actually instead of the August, let's do September, because the income for August ended up coming in September. So with September, I got 2 paychecks. 525 came to me in September instead of coming in August, because we're still trying to sort out the paperwork. So that is the rental income from August, because my fee for management was quite high. So this included a setup fee of £144 and £3.60 for the deposit scheme, and then the standard £81 for management fees. So I paid £228 and 60 pence for management fees. So, and then in September I also got the £750, which is the actual rent for this rental property. So with this rental property, I will be paying £81 in management fees. So I'm using the same management company. For the mortgage, I got a really good interest with this one, so my mortgage is quite low, and it's £248 and 33 pence. Then for my life insurance, it's 101 and 3 pence. And for September, I didn't have a leasehold, so my second rental property is a leasehold, not a freehold. So I have to pay a service charge, and that is £70. So I just made that payment yesterday of £70, and that's how much I will be making moving forward. So Again, September might not be that realistic, but because I've plotted out for across the month, you could see in October it's a lot more realistic that I would spend £536. So if we do, I actually didn't do the maths on this, but I have my mobile here, so I'm gonna do the maths quickly. So 750 minus 536. I actually could have done this in my head, but anyway, I am left with £249 and 64 pence when I actually don't have any costs or anything whatsoever. So for these two properties together, what I am left with on a good month, so for example, if there isn't, actually October won't be the month because I do have a pending charge coming up for my first rental property, but if on a good month where I don't have any additional charges or what have you, I should have at least £450 and 96 pence as my profit, which obviously then I split into my emergency fund and my maintenance fund for the rental properties. But that's just how much I make, honestly. So to answer your question, I am on a good month for these two rental properties. I am left with £450 and 96 pence. But obviously, not every month is smooth. July obviously wasn't that smooth because I had the tenant's renewal. I'm grateful my tenant renewed. And then for the month of October, I do have a pending charge for installation of the carbon monoxide alarm. So that needs to be installed because it's the law. So we will be doing that for my first tenant. And yeah, so I love my rental properties. I'm happy with how much I make from them. Sure, I would like to keep a little bit more in my pocket, but I also have quite expensive insurances for a reason. All of the insurances that I have are covering all eventualities, and I know people don't really like insurance, but for me, I have interest only mortgages, and at the end of my term, obviously I am going to remortgage, but at the end of the insurance that I have with a separate company is in 35 years time. So when I am about 65, about 65, all my properties will be paid off. And that was important to me. So that's the type of insurances that I have, and I'll have enough left over to live off if I wanted, and then obviously I have my various investments as well. But yeah, that is how much I make. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my other videos that you find on my rental properties, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.